the man with the machete.
This happened during the summer, about a year ago. I work at a local family-owned grocery store that has its own package store. With a package store comes a bottle return room, and ours is particularly small, with only 2 machines that, may I add, jam and break fairly easily. We're located next to a gas station / convenience store, so we get our fair share of strange, creepy men who love to make young women feel uncomfortable and purposely break our bottle machines so the girls have to fix them as they watch. We also get a handful of regulars since we're a local shop, and unfortunately, many of our regulars are those creepy perverted men. Our bottle room is where this story starts. It was a Saturday night, around 8 o'clock. We closed at 10 on Saturdays, so although it was summer, it was dark outside once we left work. One of our regulars, I'll call him Jim, came in to return some bottles. Jim is a slightly older, short man, probably in his 50s, who smelled of sweat and beer and loved to sing while returning his bottles. He didn't seem to be as creepy as most of the other men that come in, but I was always cautious around him. Naturally, my coworker, I'll call him Nick, and I got a call at the registers, letting us know that the bottle machines were jammed. Nick volunteered to go unjam the machines since he knew who was behind the call. Nick comes back to the front after a few minutes and everything is completely normal. He helps a few customers out and waits to see if Jim will come to the front before telling me he is going to fill the milk and egg shelves in the cooler. Protocol for closing the store. It doesn't take too long to restock the milk and eggs, maybe 10 minutes on a night where the shelves are very empty. But Nick came back within 2 minutes. After he rang up another customer, he told me, "Jim was asking to see you, personally, so just a heads up." Despite the gross feeling that gave me, it wasn't out of the ordinary for Jim to say that. Nick cleared his throat and then said quickly, and he had a machete, so there's that too. Now, weird shit going down in the bottle room isn't unusual, but I can say I have never seen, or even heard, of a customer carrying a machete in any store. I suggested we call the police, but Nick told me he wasn't threatening anyone with it. He was putting it back in his backpack, so the cops probably wouldn't do much. I shrug it off for the most part, as I trusted Nick, but still, I keep it in the back of my head to watch out for Jim. 10 or 15 minutes go by, and there was no sign of Jim anywhere, so I figured it was safe for me to assume he had left and would redeem his bottle slip another time. The next hour and a half goes by smoothly, and we are getting ready to close our registers and lock our doors when I see someone run by the floor-to-ceiling windows at the front of the building, which is behind our registers, so while I am working on the register, my back is to the windows. I shrug it off again, but I am still wary, and decided to keep myself on high alert and return to my closing business. Out of the corner of my eye, I see the same person run by the sliding doors to my left, tripping the motion sensor, causing the door to open. I recognize the person as Jim. At this point I am getting slightly nervous and tell Nick it was close enough to 10 PM for him to lock up. He goes and locks the doors, and I see Jim run by again, totally ignoring Nick. We finish closing, and Nick shuts all the lights off, but I tell him not to leave yet, because I was feeling even more nervous about Jim running around outside. Jim wasn't just leisurely going for a run around our store. He was pacing, almost like he was circling our store, waiting for us to come out. I let Nick know that I was very unnerved by this, especially since I hadn't driven to work that night, and my mother wasn't there to pick me up. He said it would be okay from the inside of the store, and we just needed to wait it out. We were waiting in the aisles of the store, watching Jim closely, when I noticed a gleam of light reflecting off of something in his hand. It was his machete. I texted my mom to tell her to park right in front of the back door so I could jump straight into her car when she got there. When Nick and I deemed it safe enough to leave, we took the opportunity and booked it out of there. I saw Jim at the front of the store as my mom and I drove off, and I can definitely say that event sticks out to me as the most unsafe I felt at work. I can't tell you why we didn't call the police. I guess I trusted Nick enough to also trust his word against calling them, but looking back, I think it was dumb of us not to call them. Some things to add. I was a 17-year-old girl at the time of this event, and knowing that Jim was asking for me personally, that situation had the potential to get a whole lot worse, especially since we decided not to call the police. I also don't know the laws for carrying weapons in the town I live in, or at my place of work, so I'm not sure if it was illegal to have it on the property of the store, let alone carry it.